everybody, Nina Miranda Guillen here on another video blogs of my performance studies. In this video blogs, I just read a short essay article that is written by Frederick C. Corey called The Personal Against the Master Narrative. So in the beginning it shows how much he loves theaters and how he started to love theaters. Like in the beginning, that when he's a kid, he sat to stare stunned between his parents, as Marion opened the screen door and called her little Sheba, which meant the dog. And he likes to hear about the theater, likes to hear mostly about how his mother first visited the theaters, the story she will tell it, and how when he's in high school he used to be working in theaters, and how he skips the algebra class to make the props for the Miracle Worker and secure his first role as a delivery boy in Miss Weirdum Drinks a Little. That's all he get for all of his love of the theater. He sings about the drama, which meant the literal genres, which is not quite right, but there's definitely a sis. And there's this drama that never told my story. But before I go over the rest of the articles, that example of how he started to love theater remind me when I was little, how I started to love The Lion King on Broadway when I was 10 years old at that time. That The Lion King became not only my favorite Disney movie of all time, but it became my favorite Broadway musical of all time ever since I saw The Lion King for the first time, and my first ever Broadway show that I saw, because earlier, before I went to see the show with my cousins and my parents, I used to hear some of the music of the 1997 versions of The Lion King on one of my mom's iPod. The first time I listened to the Lion King songs, it was very remarkable mentions. Then, as I was getting to high school, I entered the drama club and did the Peter Pan, Jekyll and Hyde, Find a Way in our comedy show that takes place in the apartment thing. That I know what I did in drama club as a dresser and wardrobe supervisor to help my classmates and my club members, how I had to help them dress up in time for the beginning of the show or their next scenes, intermissions, and the end of Act 2, end of the show thing. And how I get to why I go to KSU for learning to become a dresser in the Broadway company. I hope so, and especially when I want to work for Disney. Anyway, that was what I know. These flashbacks of how he did remind me what I did when I was a kid and back in high school. He knows about that this drama has to do with his identity, like on the first citation I liked. He says, I too was ashamed. I was ashamed of my secrets, my desire, my sexuality. And I was a virgin. How can I be ashamed of myself when I was not yet who I was? That's first citation I like on page 250, because it's I kind of felt the same thing, how I was ashamed of why I don't like socializing well with new peoples at schools thing, why I can talk so much just because, or why am I acting so weird because I was I have autism, I couldn't stand myself, how I had to socialize well, had to communicate well. That reminded me look like I was ashamed about my identity, even though if I'm single, but I'm still special needs, I'm autistic, and I don't when I was in middle school, I don't like being bullied about why I love Disney so much, why I don't like hearing I'm too old for this, and so forth. That reminds me the first citation, because it says in the rest of the article, which is what personal narrative is. It says is one way of disturbing the master narrative, which is the performance dimensions of the personal narrative, that is able to disrupt, but dare I say, as what he says, the master narratives. It's like what I learned previously on the Bell chapter that reminds me of postmodernism, about how you need to how you performing about yourself and you other things about yourself, like if you're LGBTs, if you're transgender, if you're gay, you're lesbians, and so forth, so forth. And it says there on that the narrative is very public, historical, documentary, and hegemonic. But the things I haven't learned that about mostly why they think LGBTs or like gays are like evil thing. I never heard this in my whole life. But it says here from which is the second citation I like on the same page, 250. It says that the Hellenistic era is famous or infamous for the love between men and boys, for the lust of the symposium and virtuous, for the antics of Socrates and the lyrics of Savio, and yet the claims of glorious liberty and desire for the Greeks is heresy. So in other words, it says that the Greeks were monistic people and the relationship between pleasures and pedagogy was the intricate one in which the teacher was to practice the strictest authorities. That's the second citations on the same page, because this makes me sense how I need to know the original why LGBTs and why they think it was evil thing. And then with the rest of the article, it's the Greeks and the men. He knows how he shows his own truth, however, that's how narrating the truth that may be, and how he performed his story that was very challenging for him to show the audience how he performs his identity. So this is what I just read on Corey's essay. Here's what I just know. The first question I want to know is, why does he needs to performing about his identity? Why he said he's ashamed of it? And the second citation is, why they still believe that the gay is like evil things? That's the second thing I want to know. Second questions I want to know. So that's all. My video blogs on Corey. I hope you enjoy it, and have a good rest of the day. Bye.